I remember the day my mum told me she was getting remarried. It wasn't like I hadn't expected it. She had been dating her new boyfriend, Mark, for almost 2 years. Still, hearing her say it out loud made my stomach twist in a way I hadn't anticipated. "You'll love Mark," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "And his daughter Ava is around your age. It'll be nice to have a sister, don't you think?" A sister. I was an only child for 16 years, and the idea of suddenly having a sibling felt foreign and uncomfortable. But I nodded, trying to be supportive. Mum deserved to be happy. After Dad passed away, she had been a shell of herself for years. Mark seemed to bring life back into her, and for that I was grateful, at least in theory. When they moved in, everything changed. Mark was charming enough, always polite and respectful, but Ava was a different story. She was 17, a year older than me, and from the moment she stepped into our house, it was clear she saw me as competition, rather than family. "This house is smaller than what I'm used to," she said on the first day, wrinkling her nose as she looked around. "It's cozy," I offered, trying to be friendly. "It's cramped," she shot back with a dismissive shrug. "But I guess I'll manage." I bit my tongue. Mum shot me a warning glance, silently pleading for me to give Ava a chance. So I did. For weeks I tried to get along with her, but no matter what I did, Ava found a way to belittle me. It started small. She'd make comments about my clothes, my music taste, even my grades. "You're still wearing last season's jeans," she sneered one morning before school. "No wonder you don't have a boyfriend." I tried to brush it off, but her words stung more than I cared to admit. It wasn't just the insults, it was the way she said them, with a cruel smile that made it clear she enjoyed watching me squirm. Mark never intervened. He was usually at work or buried in his phone, and when he was around, he seemed oblivious to Ava's behavior. Mom, on the other hand, noticed everything but chose to ignore it. "She's just adjusting," Mom would say when I brought it up. "Give her time." Time only made things worse. One night, Ava invited a group of her friends over. They took over the living room, laughing and talking loudly while I tried to study in my room. Around midnight, the noise got too much to bear, so I went downstairs to ask them to keep it down. "You're such a buzzkill," Ava said, rolling her eyes. "No wonder you don't have any friends." Her friends laughed, and I felt my face burn with embarrassment. I turned and went back to my room, slamming the door behind me. But the worst was yet to come. The next morning, I found my favorite hoodie in the trash. It was covered in something sticky and smelled awful. "Ava!" I stormed into her room, holding up the ruined hoodie. "What the hell is this?" She looked up from her phone, feigning innocence. "Oh, that?" It must have fallen in by accident. "Accident?" I echoed, my voice shaking with anger. "This was deliberate and you know it." She shrugged. "Maybe if you weren't such a loser, things like this wouldn't happen." I couldn't take it anymore. I marched into Mom's room, demanding that she do something about Ava's behavior. But Mom looked tired, worn down by her own struggles. "Honey, please," she said softly. "I'm doing the best I can." Her words felt like a betrayal. I realized then that if I wanted things to change, I would have to handle it myself. I started documenting everything Ava did, every insult, every act of sabotage. I kept a journal, noting dates and details, and even recorded a few of our interactions on my phone. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the evidence, but it made me feel a little more in control. Meanwhile, Ava continued her reign of terror, oblivious to my plan. But I was patient. I knew her arrogance would be her downfall. One evening, Ava borrowed my laptop without asking. When I confronted her, she smirked and said she needed it for a school project. But when I checked my files later, I noticed something strange, a folder I didn't recognize. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. Inside were photos of Ava at parties, drinking and doing things that would definitely get her in trouble at school. I realized then that Ava wasn't as perfect as she pretended to be. Armed with my evidence, I confronted Ava in front of Mom and Mark. "I'm done being your punching bag," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "You've been cruel to me for months, and I have proof." I showed them the recordings and the photos, watching as Ava's face turned pale. "Is this true?" Mark demanded, turning to his daughter. Ava stammered, unable to come up with an excuse. For the first time, she looked genuinely scared. Mom looked at me, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Things changed after that. Ava was grounded indefinitely, and Mark made sure she apologized to me. It wasn't an instant fix, but it was a start. Mom and I grew closer again, rebuilding the bond that had been strained by her marriage. And while Ava and I would never be best friends, we learned to coexist peacefully. In the end, I realized that family isn't about blood or shared houses. It's about respect and understanding. And sometimes you have to fight for both.